Senator Andrew Mathews has proposed legislation to begin the process of opening Minnesota businesses.
You had a bill before the Jobs and Economic Growth Committee this week to open up Minnesota businesses. How would this bill work?
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. My bill is an attempt to come up with a plan. Business owners are really struggling right now. They want to be able to open, and many business owners know they can operate safely because of the type of business they're in, yet they're arbitrarily closed at the moment. So we're trying to get to a plan where they can be open. My bill laid out one proposal because the governor and Deed have been looking at some industries and going through them on getting some things back reopened. That would probably take a lot of time, so I was trying to flip it and see, can we have business owners come forward and say, here's our plans that we already have where we know how we can do this safely, and use that as a starting point for making decisions on how things will be reopened. So it was to try to set up a framework to allow business owners to give input quicker on what their safety plans would look like for their customers or their employees as well.
So the businesses would develop a plan about how they can reopen safely. They would submit it to the to Deed, Department of Employment and Economic Development, and then Deed would have 3 days to turn that around. Is that a reasonable amount of time for Deed to be able to evaluate individual businesses?
Well, I know that it was likely going to be one of the first things Deed would bring back, and it was. It was thrown out there because this is a matter of urgency for many businesses. They're now measuring in days and not in weeks, and some have even told me they probably won't be able to make it till May. But I would like to have this conversation about how we can do it quickly. There's other ways. Maybe we can do this by large industry segments rather than each individual businesses. I think there are some ideas that we could try to flesh out in there. I think Deed is trying to come up with some strategies too. The commissioner announced at the meeting that they had released this template on what kind of a widespread business reopening plan might look like. I was able to look through it. And I think we could even get to a point that would even be better than this bill. Maybe it could be, here's a checklist of things. If you commit to getting these things done on this checklist, then just reopen. I think that would be a wonderful thing, because I do agree with, we don't want to have government oversight and micromanaging on everything, but we are trying to strike a balance between the governor's need for oversight and safe reopening of the economy and business owners' need for a speedy process, since this is getting urgent.
Now, because it is a peacetime emergency, my understanding is, though, that the ability to reopen business does have to come from Governor Walz and his administration. Is that accurate?
Yes, I believe that's correct. I haven't dug into all of the peacetime emergency details nearly in depth as I'm sure Governor Walz and others have. But that is correct. I do think they've gone hand in hand. I know Deed and the governor have worked really closely together. We've been communicating, other legislators have been communicating with Deed regularly. Our leaders have been talking with Governor Walz. This is all a collaborative effort, and I think that we all are going to find a good way to move forward here soon.
Now, just moments ago, you said this is an urgent thing, down to days, weeks for some of these businesses. But on the flip side, even when they do reopen, it won't be business as usual with social distancing and all of that. So what is your message to the bar owners, to the restaurant owners, to people who own salons in this uncertain time that we're facing?
Well, my message to them would be, if you haven't already, you should start coming up with a plan of what a new normal will look like and how you would plan to try to safely operate. And I know that many business owners have already been doing this, and that was one of the reasons why I stepped forward with this bill, because Governor Walz has started laying out in some of his off-the-cuff comments at his press conferences about what he'd like to see from businesses to get reopened. A lot of business owners have already done it and matched up point by point with what the governor is wanting. So my message would be, if folks haven't been working on that, it would be a good time to do it, and probably to write it down as well. Get it ready, be prepared, and then we're going to do the best we can. We need to ask all of our citizens in our communities to do what they can to reach out, to help small businesses, to order from that restaurant or to go shop at a local store versus a big box chain retail store. We'll all have a part to play in this and pulling this together, and this is likely going to be quite a bit different circumstance for a long time.
Senator Andrew Mathews, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.